Amanda, you've talked about redefining risk in the context of climate change. What do you mean by that?
Well, Susan, I think it's common for people to focus on physical risks. I mean, it's tangible, it's quantifiable. And fortunately, we do have software and services that exist to help forecast these kinds of risks with increasing degrees of accuracy. But it doesn't stop there. And depending on the industry, there might be actually other types of risk that would have as much or even greater risk to the enterprise.
So give us some examples of these other types of risks then.
Yeah, sure. Well, policy and regulatory risks are two examples that come to mind. As stakeholders care more about climate and they have better access to information about company climate action or inaction, they can vote with their feet, as in the case of employees. And this actually happened last year at a number of the well-known tech companies. And also consumers, they can vote with their pocketbook. Now, we've seen with the COVID pandemic both these types of risks. And they came seemingly out of nowhere, but had significant financial impacts to business. Well, the good news is that companies that had strong board and executive leadership, and also a culture of preparedness, they demonstrated an ability to pivot quickly in response to those new circumstances. While those that didn't, frankly, haven't fared quite as well.
Going forward, if you would just touch on, kind of what you see on the horizon in two areas. One is regulation. Where do you see that going? But then also, even apart from regulation, is there a kind of consensus forming about a best practice?
Well, there really is. And I think that's good news for business because it has been very confusing. So part of it is driven by the investment community. And in September, a major study was released that found a large number of the most powerful institutional investors now rank climate risk disclosure as being as important in their decision-making as traditional financial statements and other performance metrics. So clearly, these disclosures are not going to go away. But as you said, there is a strong call for the process to be standardized and streamlined. So BlackRock, among others, advocates for a single global reporting framework. And there's indications that this is happening already. Most people see a convergence of standards somewhere in the next 12 to 14 months. Fundamentally, boards need to get engaged in this topic. And at the heart of it, it's because attitudes towards climate are changing. A recent Pew Research Center study showed nearly 70% of people around the world say climate change is as big a threat as the spread of infectious disease. And this is in the middle of a pandemic, and they're saying that. So clearly, whether your concern is your employees, your shareholders, your customers, your partners, they all care about climate, and so should board directors.